Hey everyone, Kevin here. I said quite a few episodes ago that I was planning on doing a video on the triple constraint, and I do apologize for getting a little bit sidetracked with it, but here it is. So, the triple constraint is an integral concept for instructional designers, and you absolutely need to understand it if you plan on moving into the field. I gave a pretty basic overview of it in that earlier episode, but let's delve far deeper into it now. So, the first part of that triangle is time. How much of it do you have? What are your deadlines? These are things and questions you need to know and have answers to well in advance of creating a course because companies cannot be waiting for months for a training that they need by next week. Specific timelines for your alpha, beta, deliverables, and any needed revisions to the course are part of this timeline as well. It is much better to underpromise and overdeliver than say you require less time than you actually need to deliver the final product. It speaks better of you as a person and an ID. Second part of that triangle is scope. That involves what needs to be in the course. What features does your company or the client need in it, such as interactives, scenario practice, knowledge checks, what information needs to be included inside of those interactives, stuff like that. This is where the training plan really needs to be perfectly outlined as to avoid problems down the line where stakeholders come back with change requests saying that they want X, Y, and Z information added to the training when you simply don't have the time. This is called scope creep, by the way. I'm sure you might have heard of that before. When one deliverable turns into five overnight, that's really a lot of scope creep, and it can seriously impact deadlines and cause the course to take far longer than intended and subsequently cost more in both time and budget. Now, if a client is okay with that, then well, fine. But often you and your project managers will have to defend the original scope to avoid these blockers from happening, which leads right into the final part of the triangle budget. How much money is allocated for this project? Keep in mind, this also covers not just the physical cost of the training itself, but labor for both you and the SMEs you need to consult, hardware and software needs, and any other unexpected expenditures. Now, as an ID, this part of the triple constraint is more handled by your project managers, but your needs, such as the specific authoring tools you need to complete the project, will be factored in here. So keep it in mind. Budget is really important in a business, of course, and you must play your part in keeping costs down and preventing unneeded costs. When starting any project, these three limiting factors must be considered, or you may end up with a training that goes wildly over budget and covers topics that were never originally intended to be in the course in the first place, thus leading to missed deadlines. The point, though, is that they are all connected. That's why there is technically a fourth part to the triple constraint, which is quality. This is usually placed in the center of the triangle, by the way. As I said, any changes to one part of the triangle will lead to changes that will need to be made elsewhere. For instance, if the stakeholders come back after the project has begun and suddenly shorten the deadlines by, say, a week, so you have less time, then they will have to pay more money in overtime, higher costs, and run the risk of product not as sophisticated as hoped, which is lower quality. Or if the company says they suddenly have less money for the project you are working on, which means your budget has been reduced, then this can be accommodated by delivering a simpler course with fewer interactives and less information than what was originally planned, so you have smaller scope. The goal is to always make the stakeholders happy and deliver a good bit of e learning that solves their training problem in a meaningful way. Knowing the triple constraint inside and out will greatly help you with delivering a quality course that meets expectations, comes in at or under budget, has the necessary features that stakeholders need, and is completed on time. Always keep these technically four things in mind, and you'll end up in a much better place every time you make a project in the long run. But that's it for today. As always, I am here to help if you have any questions. So see you next time.